Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play the entirety of this video without any interruption, and then I'll go back and hit replay and talk about things that I think that were done right and or done wrong. This is a 20-minute video. So for the first 20 minutes, it'll be just the presentation from LAPD. And then after that will be my thoughts on it. So this could be a long video. If you just want to watch body cam stuff, then just bear with it for the first 20 minutes. But if you want to hear commentary, stick with it. Without further ado, here we go.
Hello, I'm Captain Stacy Spell, Commanding Officer of Media Relations Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. This critical incident community briefing is intended to provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred in Van Nuys Division in the city of Los Angeles on October 31st, 2021 at around 5:20 p.m. You're about to see relevant video footage and learn about other evidence and police procedures related to the case so you can have a better understanding of what occurred based on what we know right now. The LAPD conducts very thorough use of force investigations, which typically require investigators to interview multiple witnesses, view numerous hours of video footage, and analyze a significant amount of forensic evidence. We're still at the very early stages of this investigation, which can often take up to a year to complete, and our understanding of the incident may change as this additional evidence is collected, analyzed, and reviewed. We also do not draw any conclusions about whether the officers acted consistent with our policies and the law until all the facts are known and the investigation is complete. A word of caution. The images and information you're about to see may be disturbing. When a police officer uses force to arrest a suspect or defend against an attack, it can be graphic and difficult to watch. In addition, there may be strong language used by those shown in the video. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for young children and sensitive viewers. Van Nuys patrol officers responded to a radio call of a vandalism suspect in the 6400 block of Matilaha Avenue. Here's the call and corresponding radio broadcast for this incident.
I'm an emergency operative 433. What are you reporting?
Yes, I have a tenant that's potentially going to be causing himself some bodily damage. He's breaking glass windows, shower doors. He's got the water on, left the gas on.
Okay, are you at the location?
Yes.
Okay, give me the address, please.
Matilia Avenue.
McKinley?
Matilia, Matilia.
Okay, and is this going to be a house or apartment where he's at?
It's a house. It's a house.
Okay, and I'm sorry, the numbers on Matilaha are... Okay, sir, I'm going to get the officers out there. Is there anything we need to know about him? Has he been diagnosed with mental illness or anything?
He's most likely on some type of narcotic.
Okay, and how old?
He's probably in his mid-30s or 40s.
And his name?
Melkon. Melkon.
Okay, and
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and get the officers going. In case he runs down the street, what is he wearing?
No, he's not opening the door. He's locked himself in, and we asked him to
okay,
open.
So he's breaking the windows. You hear him breaking the shower door, and you think he might be turning on the gas?
The gas is on. We shut off the
Okay.
gas from the main. He's saying he wants to.
Yeah, get as far away as you can. I'm going to get the officers with lights and sirens. We'll meet you in the front. And what is your name, sir? And are you the owner?
Yes.
Okay, number...
Correct.
Okay, leave your phone on in case they have to give you a call. One last question. Do you know if he's alone or do you think somebody might be in there with him?
No, I think he's alone.
And have you ever seen him with guns or anything we need to know about?
No guns, but there's obviously going to be kitchen knives and things like that.
Okay, we'll be out there. Stay away from him as you can.
All right.
Bye-bye. So that is just a Van Nuys unit. Vandalism suspect. Matilaha. Subject locked himself in the house, breaking out windows, shower doors, also turned on the gas in the house. It's code 3 incident 2885 and RD926.
When officers arrived in the area of the call, they met with a community member who directed them to the location of the suspect. The suspect was identified as Melkon Michaelidis. Officers discovered that Michaelidis suffered from mental illness and was breaking windows and property while inside his residence. The officers attempted to establish communications with Michaelidis for approximately 40 minutes in an effort to de-escalate the situation and gain his voluntary compliance to exit the residence. However, Michaelidis refused. After officers determined that no one else was inside the residence, the officers tactically disengaged and departed the location. Approximately 1 hour later, Van Nuys patrol officers responded to a second radio call in the area involving Michaelidis. Officers were informed that Michaelidis was outside of the residence, armed with 2 knives, vandalizing parked vehicles.
Van Nuys units, 9837, 9837. Your vandalism suspect there now, Matilla is now a 415 man with a knife. Suspect's a male, white, black shirt, black pants, armed with 2 knives, running southbound on Matilla. Code 3 incident 3300 926.
This portion of the incident was captured on nearby CCTV surveillance video. When officers arrived in the area of Victory Boulevard and Matilla Avenue, they encountered Michaelidis standing in the middle of the street, holding a knife in each hand. The officers attempted to establish communication with Michaelidis for several minutes and made repeated attempts to have Michaelidis drop the knives he was holding However, Michaelidis refused to comply with the officers. Michaelidis then advanced towards the officers while still holding one of the knives, resulting in an officer-involved shooting and a simultaneous deployment of a less lethal beanbag shotgun. The beanbag shotgun is a Remington 870 shotgun, which has been configured with a green slide handle in stock, rifle barrel, and side saddle ammunition holder. The color green is used to identify that the shotgun is for the sock round only, not lethal munitions, and designed to fire a cloth sock filled with small metal pellets. The primary target area is the navel area or belt line. Officers may target the suspect's arms, hands, or legs when practicable. Body-worn video cameras are used by most officers assigned to field duties. They're worn at chest level and capture a general perspective within line of sight from that angle. The angle of the camera prohibits viewers from seeing everything the officer saw and experienced. Upon activation, both audio and video will turn on. However, body-worn video cameras have a buffer of video without audio from the previous 2 minutes prior to activation. This feature is designed to capture incidents that occur suddenly where an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. Here's the body-worn video from the officers involved in this incident.
Incident 3300, already 926. Do you know what's the last for identify only?
9819, additional on their 459 with a knife. Additional PR card back says the suspect is now...
If he's inside, we're not going to be able to do anything.
Running down towards Victory. He threw the knife onto the street.
We're going to have to...
The knife is possibly bloody. It's additional 3300.
Yep.
Suspect now Victory.
He's somewhere here. He's somewhere here. Slow it down.
What is he wearing?
There's someone in the middle of the street.
You see him?
There's someone in the middle of the street,
Where?
black clothing. A little further up ahead. Ahead of Ranchito, right there. They're pulling up on him, first unit. It's going to be Victory and Matilda. Hey, hold on.
Drop the knives! Drop the knives! Right now!
Hey, my partner's coming with Taser. I'm Taser, all right? Hey, partner, come up here.
Do it now!
Get out of here! Move!
Back up! Back up!
Drop it!
Drop the knife!
Drop it! I'm going to shoot him.
And then hold on.
Get on your knees! Get on your knees!
Drop the knife!
Hey! Get on your knees!
Move!
Get on
Move the fucking truck!
Get on your knees!
Drop the
Get
knife!
on your knees! Calm down! Get on your knees!
Hey!
Come on!
Just
You're gonna be
Hold
okay!
on.
Get on the ground!
Get on the ground! Hey!
Get on the floor!
Drop the knife!
Get on the floor!
Drop the knife! Drop the knife, sir!
Mel,
You don't!
aren't
Just
there two
drop
knives?
it! Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
I'm gonna beanbag him if he walks any closer to me.
Drop the knife!
Hold on. Hold on.
Melkon, drop it! Melkon, we're here to help you! Cooperate with us, drop it!
Hold on.
Drop one more! Drop
One
the other
more!
one!
Hold on. Let my partner talk.
Hey, Melkon, you're okay! Melkon, drop the knife! Hey, we're here to help you!
Sir, back
Melkon,
up! Back up!
we're here to help you!
You need to go!
Back
Melkon,
up!
Melkon,
Back up!
Back up!
Melkon, drop the knife. You're okay. You're okay. Listen to me. Melkon,
Okay.
you're okay.
Drop the knife!
Just tell him to drop
Throw the knife. Drop
The other one
it.
underneath
It's
it.
underneath. It's right underneath.
Melkon, drop the knife. Please, we want to help you. We're here to help you.
Hey, hold on.
Help you.
Don't hit him yet.
Melkon, your family is watching you. They want to help you. Hey,
Hey, no.
Melkon, listen
No.
to me.
Don't do
Listen
it.
to me. Your family loves you.
There's no need for this.
You don't have to do this. We want to help you. Listen to me. Just relax. Just relax.
I'm gonna glove up in case
There's time. There's time. We can fix this. Just relax. Just relax.
Hold on, I'm gonna glove up.
No.
I'm gloving up, partner.
We want to help you. It's gonna be 6 o'clock here soon. Just relax.
6:17.
Gloving up.
Your family loves you. They want to help you. Just relax.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it. Your uncle and your cousin, they love you. You have to hear me. These things can get better for you. You just need to relax. Just relax. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Your life matters. Melkon, just relax. Think this through. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Drop the knife. Melkon, drop the knife.
Don't hit him if he stabs himself.
Drop the knife, Melkon. Hey, it's not worth it. Please hear me out. We can figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure it out. Okay. I know.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, put the knife down. Hey, Melkon, just put it down.
Put it on the floor.
Melkon,
Put it on the floor.
Melkon. No.
Oh, no, that's
Drop
right.
the knife. Drop the knife.
Drop the knife.
Drop it. Drop it, Melkon. Drop it. Just drop it.
Come on, Melkon, just drop
We
it.
want to help you. We really do. We want to help you. We do. Just relax. Relax. We want to help you. Drop the knife. Listen to me.
Okay.
Drop the knife. Drop
Most of
the
the cuts on his
knife.
hands are glass, okay?
Glass.
Okay.
Drop
Looks like a
it.
piece of glass, partner.
It's a piece of glass, so the knife is on the ground.
Okay.
Well, he has something.
Just drop it.
It's still sharp,
Melkon,
but
just drop it.
Come on, Melkon, don't do anything you want to regret.
Drop it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey.
don't do it.
Your family loves you. They care for you. Drop it. Just drop it. Drop the knife and walk away from it. Put the knife. Drop the knife to your right. Drop the knife to your right.
Hey, Melkon, what's the problem?
Talk to us. Yeah? Okay.
Okay, look, God's on your side, man. Just put the knife down. Hey,
Hey,
put the knife down. Back up. Oh, no! 9037, shots fired, shots fired.
It's okay.
Okay. Hold!
Hold!
Hey, wait!
Hold!
Wait!
Glove up!
I got gloves.
Glove up! Keep lethal on him! I got lethal!
You got lethal? I have gloves.
All right, hold on, guys.
He's still breathing.
All right.
Glasses on the left hand.
All right, hold on. Hey. All right, right here, Dragos. Hold on. All right. Hey, on your call. All right, on your call.
Let's go. Hey, we're walking.
Okay, walk up.
Walking. Oh, walking.
Hold it.
Glasses on the left. Flip them over.
Roll him.
To your side.
Roll him.
Flip over. Wait. Let me take the knife.
Flip them over. Bring your arm around. Get the knife away. Hey, grab my med back in the back.
You got it?
In the back of my car. Med back right here. Hey, somebody take this. I'm gonna start giving it.
Where's this?
Take this. I'm gonna take this. Close off.
Someone get him glass.
Yeah, I got it.
We're going to have a unit marking Overall locational victory. We need another unit that's within this victory. And Matilla House in victory. Now the unit on Matilla House, north of victory.
Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Shots fired, put it out, put it out!
Michaelidis was struck by gunfire and pronounced deceased at scene by Los Angeles Fire Department personnel. Michaelidis' knives were recovered at scene and booked as evidence. Melkon Michaelidis was a 46-year-old resident of Los Angeles. In the next several months, the LAPD will continue to investigate and analyze this incident. We will continue interviewing any new witnesses that may come forward and complete any forensic tests. After the investigation is complete, our Critical Incident Review Division will forward their findings to the Chief of Police, who will make his recommendation to the Civilian Board of Police Commissioners. The board will evaluate the evidence to determine whether the officer's tactics, drawing, and exhibiting a weapon and use of deadly force in this instance met the high standards expected of all LAPD officers. If you would like more information on how the LAPD investigates all serious uses of force, visit lapdonline.org, where you can also find the LAPD's use of force policy and procedures. Thank you for taking the time to view this Critical Incident Community Briefing.
All right, let's get into it. So the very beginning of this, the caller calls
Sensitive viewers.
to report.
Van Nuys patrol officers responded to a radio call of a vandalism suspect in the 6400 block of Matilla Avenue. Here's the call and corresponding radio broadcast for this incident.
I'm an emergency operative 433. What are you reporting?
Yes, I have a tenant that's potentially going to be causing himself some bodily damage.
So the caller initially reports that the person's going to be trying to cause himself bodily damage, and that he's also vandalizing the property. However, the first dispatch that goes out doesn't mention the...
Get as far away as you can. I'm going to get the officers with lights and sirens. Matilla, we'll meet you in the front. And what is your name, sir?
Yes.
Okay, number one last question. Go ahead. Have you ever seen him with guns? Okay, we'll be out there. Suspect. Matilla.
So all it gets reported is vandalism.
Subject locked himself in the house, breaking out windows, shower doors, also turned on the gas in the house. It's code 3 incident 2885 and RD926.
When officers arrived in the area of the call, they met with a community member who directed them to the location of the suspect. The suspect was identified as Melkon Michaelidis.
Now, the community member that they said that they met, I'm assuming that's going to be the caller, the complainant, or as they call the reporting party. Now, while they were there in person talking, he could have conveyed to them that this guy was wanting to cause self-harm. No idea if that transpired or not. Of course, we don't see any body cam footage from that interaction.
Officers discovered that Michaelidis suffered from mental illness.
Okay.
The knife.
Officers were informed that Michaelidis was outside of the residence, armed with 2 knives. However, Michaelidis refused. After officers suffered from mental illness and was breaking windows and property while inside his residence.
Okay, so there was something conveyed about mental illness. Now, whether that was him wanting to cause harm to himself or he's out there, I don't know.
The officers attempted to establish communications with Michaelidis for approximately 40 minutes in an effort to de-escalate the situation and gain his voluntary compliance to exit the residence. However, Michaelidis refused. After officers determined that no one else was inside the residence, the officers tactically disengaged and...
So they dealt with this guy for 40 minutes at this residence, trying to get him to come out. Of course, he is in an apartment or a house. He's in a house that's not his. He's a tenant. And he's inside and he's destroying stuff. However, he's also paying to be there. So that can create a bit of a problem for the tenant, because law enforcement may not be able to just go in there, because the guy who is paying to live there is smashing in a wall. That's going to be more of a civil issue. So I'm sure that was pretty damn frustrating for the property owner to hear all this destruction going on inside the house, and then the police get there and they don't do anything. That's an unfortunate part of owning property and renting it out to people. When you rent your property out to people for living, of course, these people have the same Fourth Amendment protections as the owner does, and the police just can't go in there and violate their Fourth Amendment rights just because another person happens to own the property. It would be nicer if, things could be somewhat slightly different, but it's pretty much just a civil matter at that point. The guy pays to live there. It's his dwelling. He lives there. All he's doing is damaging property, but it's property inside of the house that he's paying to live in. And the police just don't have enough grounds to go bust the door down and go in there and grab them. Obviously, the guy, well, I wouldn't say obviously. It would appear to me that after 40 minutes of dealing with this guy at the house, he didn't make any statements to give them reason to go in to detain him for a mental hold. He obviously didn't make any threatening, well, I won't say obvious again, but it doesn't appear as though because they didn't do anything to arrest him or go in to arrest him, that he made any threatening statements towards police or anything like that. So until he did something that they would have the legal ability to bust the door in and go grab him, he's kind of left to his own devices to do whatever he wants inside that house. I came across a situation last year. I had a client reach out to me. Their daughter was going through a divorce, and they were concerned about the husband coming in and causing problems inside the house. And they wanted someone there to provide protection to the daughter and protect the property. And I had to explain to them that the only thing that I could protect was her. I was unable to protect the property because he has residency there, and he could, even though the house wasn't under his name or anything like that, because they're married and he has residency there, he could, if he wanted to, take a sledgehammer to the walls and just wreck the house. Just put holes in all the walls, knock the TVs over, smash them, go break the toilet and the sinks, everything in that damn house. And there would be absolutely nothing that I would be able to legally do, because it's his dwelling. It's his house. He can, if he wants to wreck his whole damn house and destroy the shit out of it, then that's his right. He can do that. And that was something kind of, I guess, a little bit difficult for them to swallow. But those are some of the legal nuances, I guess you could say, that that exist. It's not about writing right and or wrong. It's about the technicalities, and in this instance, it was probably a technicality where they didn't have enough to go in and get this guy. So their first interaction with him, they deal with him for like 40 minutes, and nothing happens out of it. And they don't include the footage from that incident. I, just out of my own curiosity's sake, would like to have seen that footage. I would have liked to have seen how that whole thing transpired and to hear the conversations that were had, but unfortunately they just don't provide it. He comes out of the house eventually and he goes around, he starts damaging stuff. So he's stabbing the tires on these two vehicles. He then stops this vehicle. So this vehicle is coming down the road. He starts walking out towards them, and they start slowing for him. He gets right there in front of them with the knives, and then starts stabbing the hood. So this is something that people could come across at random. Now, him walking towards the vehicle, they could have possibly steered to the left and hit the accelerator hard and bypassed him before he would have had the time to readjust his course, so to speak, to get out in front of them. And this stopping right here, now we don't have any audio. It's possible they're blowing their horn. I don't know. But when someone steps out to block the path like that, by all means, if they have a gun, then that changes things. If they've got a gun, run their ass over. Your V6 will beat 9mm 45 all day. Run their ass over. If they get caught under the car, you know what? They shouldn't have been stopping in front of your car pulling a gun out on you. A knife, you're pretty well protected in the cage of the vehicle from a knife, so long as all your windows are up. Just like in this scenario right here, all your windows are up and doors are locked. So you could, in this kind of scenario, throw the car in reverse and take off really fast. There's no one behind them. They would be able to very easily evade that away. Just hit reverse, back up really fast, and if need to, do a sort of a 3-point turn right there in the road. Or, if you've got the skill, you've done it before, you know how to do it, there's enough space for it, do a J-turn. But certainly a kind of a slower little 3-point turn, whatever, would work, and then get out of there. But if someone like this comes up to you in your vehicle and they've got a gun and they're this close, your best option is to smash the accelerator and run their ass over. Now, passenger starts to get out of the car. Now, I wouldn't advocate doing that. If you have the means to get the hell out of there, then by all means, get the hell out of there. Getting out of the car and confronting this guy is obviously going to lead to a deadly force encounter. And if you're unarmed, then you're not going to do much against a person with a knife. You're probably going to get cut very seriously. If you are armed, then it's going to lead one of two ways. One, they're going to cut/stab you, or two, you're going to shoot them dead. And although them trying to cut/stab you would mean that you have a legal justification to a defense to use deadly physical force, it doesn't mean that you absolutely should create the situation to use that deadly physical force. If you have the means to get out of there, then get out of there. And in some states, it's kind of a requirement. You got to retreat. Here in Kentucky, don't have to. But still, even though you don't have to, if you're able to, then go ahead, because it's not what the movies portray. It's not like you're going to shoot the bad guy and then just go home right afterwards. There's a lot of shit that happens after you shoot someone. People with badges come talk to you and try to find out why you did it. Your gun gets taken as evidence and you don't get it back anytime soon. You have to go sit somewhere for hours being talked to by these people with badges. You got to pay a guy in a suit, lots of money to represent you, it ends up being very time consuming and very costly. So if you don't have to shoot somebody, don't shoot them. That person gets wise, gets back in the vehicle, and they start to take off. Of course, he goes, "Where's these people?" And they're like, eh. So they take off. They just plow right on through. They don't even give the guy the opportunity to do anything. Now, backing up a little bit more. So they are sitting there for... Alright, so he goes up to the front of this vehicle, doing his stupid shit, and then we see this vehicle pull in and park right here. There's enough time this person could have got the hell out of there. But instead, it appears as though they're rubbernecking and they're watching what's going on. You know, if you can be a good witness, then great, be a good witness, but always make sure that you have an escape avenue. And if you need to be able to make a fast egress, then you need to be able to make a fast egress. They very easily could have went ahead and pulled out into the roadway area and pulled off a little bit to the side here, maintain visual in their mirrors, called 911, be a good witness, and this guy decided to change course. Boom, they're already in the direction to just hit the accelerator and take off very quickly, and this guy have no ability to catch up to them or get in front of them to stop them. Right here, by rubbernecking and staying where you're at, this, of course, means that this guy could have very easily came on over here and blocked their path. And some people are going to have some hesitation about running someone over, and they're going to be trapped. And it looks like wherever they're pulling out of is a parking lot, so I'm sure that this is an enclosed area, and if they were to hit reverse, there's nowhere for them to go except back into this parking lot. So always have an escape plan. All right, moving on. So notice that he is using the horn right here to change the siren tones.
Unit 9819 at this on their 459 with a knife. Additional PR call back to the suspect is now.
So that's a pretty cool feature that a lot of sirens have. It's just a matter of whether or not who hooks all that stuff up, runs the connections for it. It is a nice feature to be able to keep both eyes up on the road and keep both hands on the wheel. It's a lot easier for you just to move your hand just a couple inches, hit that horn, change the siren tone, and continue driving safely versus looking down at the console to see the siren control box, reach for it, change the tone, and then look back up. It leaves a lot of room for error there. Those are pretty nice features. And when we see him come to a stop, we see him throw it in park and the siren shuts off. That's also another feature that a lot of sirens have, but depending on who's hooking everything up, you got to have the correct wires run in order for that feature to be operable. A lot of places, I guess they just do the very basic wiring. They just run the power to the box, and then they run the speaker wires to the speaker. All the other stuff is extra. And that really comes down to whether or not agencies have a dedicated place to hook this stuff up, and they're knowledgeable with it. So there's some municipalities, they have a quote-unquote a city garage, I guess you could call it, and their people will outfit all the stuff within the vehicle, and they can be very basic with it. They can just do what everyone else does, just run the power wire and the speaker wires to it and call it a day. Or they could be knowledgeable enough to take the time to take the wires, run it up to the horn wire, and then, run the other wires to the gear selector wires and splice everything in correctly and make all those nice, neat connections. And there's some places that they don't have that. They don't have that at all. And then they try to do it themselves, and then it's just a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of thing. Emergency equipment has generally pretty cool features. It just takes time to install all that stuff correctly and have it ran correctly. Not every place can afford technicians whose job it is just to install stuff. There's actually a couple cool videos out. One from California Highway Patrol. They've got a video showcasing how they have it's a big warehouse essentially where they put together all their police cars, and there are people who work for the state whose their sole job is to outfit police cars, and they put in all the computers, they run all the wires, they put all the lights in, all the siren stuff, everything. Kentucky also has video out for Kentucky State Police, and they kind of do a similar video showcasing how all the KSB cruisers are put together and whatnot. So usually agencies with larger budgets can afford to have people whose sole jobs it is to outfit the vehicles and get them up and running the way they need to be. Other places, they might have a city garage that kind of maintains some of the oil changes and stuff like that, or a municipality or agency may have a contract with a local garage that does those maintenance things, and they may also pay them to do some of these minor installs. And they just do the basic thing. But anyway, the technology's there. It certainly makes things easier, but like I said, it just takes a little bit extra time to slice in those extra wires. And another thing that I noticed that is, I guess, kind of more unique to California, especially with LAPD, I guess because they're so more predominant with two-man cars. The passenger usually has the car microphone stretched all the way across over here to the spotlight handle. And I've never fully understood that. Maybe because the MDT is kind of right here in the way a little bit. But still, even then, I just don't see the need for stretching this damn wire all the way to the handle and then holding it there. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference thing. I think it looks like crap, and I think it unnecessarily stretches the wire out and keeps it stretched out and could damage the connection points. I just don't see the point in stretching it like that.
We're not going to be able to do anything.
Running down towards Victor, he threw the knife onto the street.
We're going to have to...
The knife was supposed to be bloody. It's additional 3,300.
All right. So they're identifying that they're going to grab less lethal. So they're talking about this before they even get out. That's good. I like how they're game planning it and they're putting a plan in place so that when they get out, boots on the ground, they know what they're going to be doing. And she's identifying that she's going to go less lethal.
Yep. He's the straight black lugging. A little further up ahead. Ahead of Ranchito, right.
So you notice how he threw the vehicle in park? It automatically shut the siren off. Oops.
Hey, hold on.
Drop the knives! Drop the knives!
Right now!
Hey, my partner's coming with taser. I'm taser, all right?
All right.
Hey, partner, come up here.
Do it now!
Get out of here! Move!
Back up!
All right. So this first car here is obviously lethal cover, and these people who are second here, they've gone ahead and just pre-designated themselves as less lethal. She's got the 12 gauge with the beanbag, and he has the Taser 7. If you don't already know, one thing that's unique to Los Angeles when it comes to their less lethals, they like to paint their stuff green. Of course, you can buy these attachments for the shotguns, but their tasers, since they obviously order so many freaking tasers from Axon, they've actually gotten Axon to have a special color mold for the tasers, and their tasers are green.
Hey, back up! Drop it! Drop the knife!
Drop it! I'm gonna shoot him.
Hold on.
Get on your knees! Get on your knees!
Drop the knife!
Hey! Get on your knees!
We see this vehicle here. He's obviously recognized that he's kind of in the crossfire, so he is staying really far off on this side to avoid any potential crossfire.
Drop the knife!
Hey! Get on your knees!
What I think would have been best is, because there's so many vehicles that end up coming down this way, I think it would have been best if this guy just went ahead and parked their vehicle here, hit the lights on, and then got out on foot and ran over here to the sidewalk and made his way down to the crowd. Or just stayed up kind of in this general area to make sure vehicles didn't come down here. Because there are multiple vehicles that end up coming down here that end up being in crossfire.
Move the fucking truck! Get on your knees!
Drop the
Get
knife!
on your knees! Calm down! Get on your knees!
Hey!
Come on!
Just
You're
relax.
gonna be okay!
Hold on.
Get on the ground.
Get on the ground!
Get on the ground! Hey!
Get on the floor!
Drop the knife!
Get on the floor!
Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
You can see them getting equipment out of their vehicle over here.
Right, sir.
Mel,
You don't.
arm
Just
the two
drop
knives.
it. Drop the knife. Drop the knife.
I'm gonna beanbag him if he walks any closer to me.
Drop the knife.
Hold
Drop it.
on.
So they're identifying one person to talk, and that's an important point, because when you have multiple people yelling, that can become confusing. So you're having one person yell, get on the ground, one person yelling, drop the weapon, one person yelling, turn around. There's multiple commands being yelled out, multiple people talking, and sometimes people yelling over each other can cancel out to the receiver, what they're actually saying, and they might not hear what someone says. So it's always a good idea to have one person designated as the talker. I've talked about this before, and it's also good when there's multiple people here to kind of go ahead and just designate one person as a radio person. That way, that one person handles communications for this incident, and people who need to keep their hands on their tools can keep their hands on their tools and not have to worry about reaching up and talking on the radio. One person kind of stands to the back, and they handle all the radio communications for this event and makes it nicer for the dispatcher, so they're not hearing 2-3 different people on the same call saying random shit. And it makes it nicer for the people here on the front line. They don't have to worry about talking on the radio because someone else is talking on it.
Melkon, drop it! Melkon, we're here to help you! Cooperate with us, drop it!
Okay, hold on.
One more. Drop
One
the
more!
other one.
Hold on. Let my partner talk.
Hey, Melkon, you're okay! Melkon!
Now, it's interesting to note that this side saddle here only has 2 reloads. I mean, if you got the side saddle on there, you might as well, fill the thing up. I don't know. I don't know why it's like that. They may have a policy in place where they can only fire X amount of beanbags at a person, and so that's all they put with the gun. I don't know. I would load it up all the way.
Drop the knife! Hey!
She is also resting her finger on the trigger. So even though this is a less lethal It's still a gun. It's still a firearm. You can still fire live ammo through this. Even with the taser, even though it's not a gun, a live gun, it fires live ammo, it still propels things out of it. Anytime you're dealing with something that has a trigger, you should exercise trigger discipline. That means keeping your finger off the trigger until you've made that conscious decision to shoot. So, she needs to exercise better trigger discipline.
We're here to help you.
If she's doing this with a less lethal, then how is she going to handle a real shotgun with live ammo in it? Would she still be having her finger resting there? I don't know. But when you do things multiple times over a course of time, you develop a habit. And so this is one of the important reasons why you should always exercise trigger discipline, even when it comes to things that are not live guns. Because if you do this 100 times with the less lethal shotgun, then when you grab that live shotgun out, that's just the same damn thing, just different, colored furniture on it, then you're going to do what you did 100 times before. You're going to rest your finger on that trigger. Taser, shaped just like a pistol. If you're always resting your finger on that trigger and you end up pulling your taser more times than your gun, then you can build up a scar. So in training, if you do this, it's called a training scar. If you end up doing this in real life, then you're developing a handling scar where you've done things real world so many times that it becomes second nature to you. And you don't want this being second nature to you when you're handling a live gun, because bad shit could happen if you have if you end up having a negligent discharge. So when it comes to tasers and less lethals, hell, even cordless drills and Nerf guns and paintball guns, airsoft guns, and even when it comes to those little things, always maintain trigger discipline at all times.
Sir, back up! Back up!
We're here to help you.
You need to go.
Back up!
Melkon.
Back up!
Back up!
Melkon.
So they're having trouble with some people out there getting a little too close. One was a truck pulling up, and they had to tell them to get back. I'm sure that these other people that they're yelling at are people on the sidewalk, probably assholes whipping their phones out, wanting to record everything.
Melkon. Drop. Melkon.
Okay.
You're okay.
Drop the knife.
Just tell him to drop it.
Throw the knife. Drop it.
It's underneath. It's right underneath.
Please, we want to help you.
Hold on.
Help you.
Don't hit him yet.
Melkon, your family is ready. Listen to me. We want to help you. Listen to me. Just relax. Just relax.
I'm gonna glove up in case he
There's
does something.
time.
So there's kind of a lull in what's going on. It's a kind of a standoff. There's nothing going on. This guy identifies the need to go ahead and glove up. I like that. There's lethal cover over here, and then there's less lethal cover over here. He goes ahead and gloves up because he sees blood. He knows that eventually they're going to go hands-on with this guy, and when you're dealing with bodily fluids, you need gloves.
Time we can fix this.
The passenger, while they were en route to this call, I think could have put some gloves on. Not every call that you go on requires gloves because a person's bleeding, but something like this where person's most likely going to be arrested, you're going to have to touch them and deal with them. Might as well just go ahead and put gloves on.
Just relax. Just relax.
Hold on, I'm gonna glove up.
No.
I'm gloving up, partner.
We want to help you. It's gonna be 6 o'clock here soon. Just relax.
6:17.
Gloving up.
Your family loves you. They want to help you. Just relax.
Don't do it.
No, don't do it. Your uncle and your cousin, they love you. You have to hear me. These things can get better for you. You just need to relax. Just relax. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Your life matters.
So this guy is having some difficulty getting these gloves on. He needs to find bigger gloves. If you're going to have gloves, obviously you don't want gloves that are super, super big on you that can just easily fall off. But you also don't want them small enough to where it takes you so long to get the damn things on. You should have gloves about a size bigger than what you normally wear. So if you wear a medium, then, you know, if you put that medium on and it's a snug fit, then you should probably get you some large gloves to put on. That way they're easier to slip on, and once you get bodily fluids and crap on them, they're easier to slip off and you're not struggling so much to get the damn things off. Because once you get blood on gloves, they can be hard to get off. And if they're tightly on you, then you're gonna have difficulty getting those gloves off. So gloves, I think, need to be a little loose, not too loose, but they should be a little bit loose. That way they're easier to put on.
Melkon, just relax. Think this through. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Drop the knife. Melkon, drop the knife.
Don't hit him if he stabs himself.
So he tells her not to pop him if he stabs himself. I don't really get that one. I would think that if he's actively cutting himself, then the best thing to do would be to go ahead and hit him with a less lethal, make him stop. But for whatever reason, he doesn't want her to do that. Now there could be a rank thing going on here, but she's also the operator of that less lethal. And she can, if she wants to, do what she wants to with it. If she felt that it would have been in his best interest to hit him with a less lethal as he's trying to actively harm himself to get him to stop, then by all means, she would have been well within her rights to do that. I don't see a contradiction to someone cutting themselves and then hitting them with a beanbag. I mean, if you hit them in the stomach with a beanbag and they double over in pain, then that's a win because then they've stopped cutting themselves.
Drop the knife, Melkon. We're gonna figure this out.
So after a day, he finally gets these damn gloves on.
We're gonna figure it out. Okay. I know.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, put the knife down. Hey, Melkon, just put it down.
Put it on the floor.
Melkon.
And so now he has kind of abandoned this idea of just letting his partner talk, and now he's trying to talk and give verbal commands.
On the floor. Drop the knife.
No.
Drop the knife.
All right. So at this point, he has worked up enough courage to go ahead and make the approach to them. This is where I think the unrealistic focus on de-escalation is a problem. So I think that a lot of people believe de-escalation just involves talking only. They think that you can just use nothing but verbal judo to talk a person down. They think it's like hostage negotiations or negotiating someone. I don't think that just pure talking is the way to go. I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk any, but I don't think that long periods of talking should be entertained, because I think that's counterproductive, and I think that instead of de-escalating a situation, it actually causes them to escalate. This guy has been sitting there harming himself, and he has, in my opinion, probably been running through his head the scenarios on what he could do to get the police to shoot and kill him. And he's probably already ran the scenario of just coming at them with the knife in his head. However, there may be some hesitation in acting on it, because you obviously know that is for sure going to kill you. And it's probably going to hurt. Now, he's cutting himself. I can imagine, thinking that gunfire is going to hurt a whole lot more than cutting yourself. But, that thought of it may have made him hesitate initially to go walking towards them. Now, after he's cut himself, I guess could have at this point said, hey, you know what, this shit kind of hurts. I don't know if I can press all the way in and do what I need to do. They've got guns. This could maybe end a lot faster for me. And as they're standing there talking and pleading with him and telling him to drop the knives, and his family cares about him, and then repeating amen after he's saying amen. The minute he started saying amen should have been the cue for them to go ahead and start initiating action, because that, to me, is a clear sign that this guy has already made his peace with his God, and he's ready to die now. And right after he says amen, he gets up and starts coming at him. So now he is forcing their hand to have to react to his actions. And actions generally beat reaction. And it's always better if you can be on the initiating end. If you can initiate that action, now the other person has to react to what you were doing. Now they have to scramble to think of a response and act with those thoughts and put that response into action. So too much talking, in my opinion, can cause situations to escalate, because it allows the person to think a little bit more. It allows them to run the scenarios through their head. It allows them to build that courage up. It allows them to do their final prayer with their God, and get ready to go die. So, and there's no cookie cutter response on, how long talking should go on. You can't just have a blanket response of, well, we're only going to talk for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, we're going to go in there. But it should be some better training on it, and more discussion on it, that there comes a point where talking just is not obviously going to work. Like there comes a point where, all right, this shit ain't working, and you need to act on that. Because once they make that decision, now you're having to react to what they're doing. And although they did have a plan on people being less lethal and stuff, when he made that decision to abruptly act and go towards them, well, none of them had a plan on where the line in the sand was. If he gets to this point, we're going to deliver less lethals. If he gets past this point, this is where lethals occur. So when he starts moving towards them, you get less lethal shooting and you get lethal shooting going on. And that was because he initiated the action and they had to react to it very quickly without any planning in place. So too much talking can cause problems, in my opinion. They should have went ahead and just initiated action on this guy. They had enough less lethal there. They could have popped him several times with beanbag and 40 millimeter, and he could have fired both his cartridges out of his taser and try to gain compliance. And if that didn't keep him from advancing on them, then by all means, less lethal, or by all means, lethal options would have to be used at that point. But I personally think that if they would have initiated contact on him by just hitting him with a barrage of less lethal, then there could have been a different outcome than what happened.
The knife!
Drop the knife.
Drop it! Drop it! Melkon! Drop it! Just drop it.
Come on, Melkon, just drop it.
We want to help you. We really do. We want to help you. We do. Just relax. Relax.
Most
Drop
of the
the
cuts
knife.
on his hands are glass, okay? But he has something.
Drop. Family loves. Yeah? Okay.
Okay, look, God's on your side, man. Just put the knife down. Hey, hey, put the knife down. Back up. Oh, hey, put the knife down. Back up. Oh, hey, put the knife down. Back up.
All right. So you can tell this guy and them, they obviously did not want to have to use lethal force on him. But it happened. Now, replay one more time. You can see one of the 40 millimeter rounds bounce off of him.
Hey, put the knife down.
You're going to see it bounce off of him and come towards this direction.
Back up. Oh, put the knife down. Back up. Hey, put the knife down. Back up.
You actually see it right there. So it hits him and it bounces off. So he gets hit with a 40 millimeter. I'm pretty sure she pops.
Hey, put the knife down. Back up.
And I think that's what you see right there is beanbag.
Hey, put the knife down. Back up.
Yeah, so you see the 40 millimeter bounce off of him, go over here. There's the little beanbag sock right there after it hit him. And then, of course, live ammo hit him as well.
9037, shots fired, shots fired. Knife down. Back up.
Now, I don't see any wires dangling out of his taser, so it doesn't appear as though he even discharged his taser.
9037, shots fired, shots fired.
It's okay.
Okay. Hold!
Hold!
Hey, wait!
Hold!
Wait!
Glove up!
I got gloves.
All right, so this guy, I don't know when he got there, but he seems to be someone in charge, and he starts making the shots. He's telling everyone to glove up, which, again, anytime you're dealing with bodily fluids, you need to be gloved up. And in this case, even though he's laying there bleeding, oh well. This guy, he ultimately brought this upon himself. So, in my opinion, if people do this stuff, then they can sit there and bleed while everyone takes their time putting their gloves on. These people need to be able to go home safe. They need to go home without any infections. And so they need to be able to put their gloves on before touching this guy.
Glove up! Keep lethal on him! I got lethal!
You got lethal? I have gloves.
All right, hold on, guys.
He's still breathing.
And of course, someone finally drives past and goes up here to block traffic.
All right.
Glasses on the left hand.
All right, hold on. Hey. All right, right here, Dragos.
And of course, here's some of these people over here that they were probably yelling at, just sitting here watching the whole thing going on. Most likely got their phones out recording.
Hold on. All right. Hey, on your call. All right.
Good?
On your call.
Let's go. Hey, we're walking.
Okay, walk up.
Walking. Oh, walking.
Hold it.
Cross his own lap.
Roll him.
To your side.
Roll him.
Flip over. Wait. Let me take the knife.
Flip him over. Bring your gun around. Get the knife away. Hey, grab my med back in the back.
You got it?
In the back of my car.
So a lot of people question why police handcuff people after they've been shot, and it's pretty simple. There have been people who, after having been shot and having the appearance of being incapacitated, have gotten back up and gotten back in the fight. There have been people who've been shot, and even though they weren't physically incapacitated, they appeared to be not willing to fight anymore, but then change their mind and start trying to fight. So it is a whole lot harder for you to fight when your hands are cuffed behind your back. It's a whole lot harder to fight when your hands are cuffed behind your back. So this is for safety purposes, in case this guy decides to wake back up and start trying to harm them or start trying to harm himself again. Now, you would think that, oh wow, there's all this blood, this guy's not getting back up, but you never know. There was a case back in the 80s that is pretty popular within the training community, especially within the law enforcement community. It's referenced quite a bit. The Miami shootout with the FBI and bank robbers. Those bank robbers took multiple hits, and they stayed in the fight after being shot. One guy, he got shot in the head. He temporarily went unconscious, and then during the middle of the gunfight, woke up, got out of the car, and got back in the fight. The other guy, he took a lethal hit in the very beginning of the gunfight. A round went into his heart. He was going to die from that eventually. It just was not immediately incapacitating for him. He went on to be shot several more times, and after having been shot several more times, he ended up killing 2 FBI agents and wounded several more before he finally went down with more gunfire. And even after he finally went down with more gunfire, he was still alive after that. He eventually died from all of his wounds, but he did not immediately die from all that. And after having been shot multiple times, he went on to kill 2 agents. So it's a very common practice for the police to handcuff people after they've been shot, and it's for safety purposes in case that person wakes back up and starts fighting again. And it's just a whole lot harder for them to fight when their hands are cuffed behind their back. People seem to have a problem with this. Like, you'll see this in the comment sections within news articles and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they cuffed him after he shot him, blah, blah, blah. And just like pretty much every damn negative comment you see on news articles and whatnot is coming from untrained, unexperienced people just shooting from the cuff, just talking out their ass. These people are akin to people trying to talk about brain surgery or heart surgery, and they don't even have a medical degree. Like, trying to debate different techniques. Like, that's not your lane. Like, you need to stay in your lane. Talk about things that you know about. If you flip burgers for a living, then you know what? When it comes to a news article about something dealing with a fast food restaurant and, burgers, then I want to hear your opinion. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, I don't give a fuck what you got to say.
Hey, somebody take this. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna
Just like to point out that I like a regular watch. She's got a regular plain Jane wristwatch on, and I see so many people wearing smartwatches out there, and I think that is the dumbest thing to wear when you're doing uniformed work. Like, you have the likelihood of getting into scuffles and fights, and a smartwatch has a very high likelihood of getting broken during that scuffle, scratching the screen during that scuffle, etc. Why would you wear a smartwatch when the chances of you damaging or breaking it are very high? And when it comes to replacing those expensive items, there's not really many agencies who are going to cough up the money to pay for your smartwatch that you are wearing. They're more likely to give you a $10, $15 for replacing a watch or something versus over $100. And this, whether you're police, security, bar bouncer, whatever, if you're in the profession of you got to wrestle with people, fight them, whatever, then I don't think you need to be wearing a smartwatch, because it's just too much risk of breaking the damn thing. And then unless you know for sure that your company, your agency, they got the policies in place that will cover the replacement for a smartwatch, then you should just wear a regular watch, because it's a whole lot easier to replace, a watch you can get from Walmart than you can from Apple.
Take this. I'm going to take this clothes off.
Someone get him glass.
Yeah, I got it.
So they are talking about medical stuff, and although we don't get to see them give him any treatment for medical care, it's important, I believe, to talk about medical care. You should have medical gear on you, your first line medical gear to treat yourself and or your team or family, and then your supplemental medical gear you can keep in your car to supplement the first line gear that you've used on yourself or your family, or to be able to use on other people. And they're talking about getting the med kits and stuff like that, and they're going to start rendering first aid to this guy. So most agencies and companies at bare minimum have first aid, CPR, AED training. The first aid stuff can be very, very basic, and it's not totally enough, in my opinion, to cover traumatic injuries like gunshot wounds and stuff. Yes, there may be the talk of tourniquets and stuff in first aid classes and, applying pressure and whatnot, but to specifically treat gunshot wounds and big knife wounds and stuff like that, there needs to be some more focused training when it comes to first aid, because when you take a first aid class, CPR, AED, that first aid class also has a bunch of other crap in it. It has hypothermia, hyperthermia, diabetic emergencies, seizures, all kinds of stuff. And when it gets to the actual trauma stuff, the curriculum can be kind of bland, just like it is on the other stuff. And that's where a good instructor will come into play who knows what they're talking about when it comes to medical stuff, because honestly, almost anyone can become a CPR, AED, first aid instructor. Pretty much all you got to do is just go through an instructor class without any prior medical training whatsoever. You can get put in this class, do a couple days on how to teach the classes and how to set up the classroom and run the practicals and stuff like that, and basically just repeat everything in the slide. And there's a lot of people out there who are CPR, AED instructors who that's all they know. If it's not on that slide in front of them, they don't really know what the fuck they're talking about. And when you try to ask them questions, they can't fully answer them very well. And I think that's kind of a bit of a problem. It's not doing anyone any justice when you have a person who's only trained to read the slide and they can't expound upon anything, because when the slides have very bland, basic info, then when you start talking about packing wounds and applying tourniquets and nasopharyngeal airways and stuff like that, well, those specific things aren't really covered in detail in those slides. They're just kind of very blandly touched on. So having someone with a medical background teaching this kind of stuff is always better. And if you've got someone in your agency or your company who's an EMT, used to be a medic in the military, whatever, hopefully those are the people who be selected to go through the agency's or company's CPR, AED, first aid training class. That way when they teach classes, they can kind of expound upon things and be able to offer better advice and train to a better standard.
Take this. I'm gonna take this clothes off.
Someone get him gauze.
Yeah, I got it.
All additional victory. We need enough units with the victory and with the housing victory.
So we know that there's two 40 millimeter launchers. There's her and there's a guy over here. And then we know we got the 12 gauge with that one girl and the taser with this guy. And then this person here has their gun, and then the female on this side of the car has her gun out too.
Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Shots fired! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Shots fired! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it!
So this is a possibility of sympathetic fire. So these less lethal munitions, they use primers in them. So they sound like a gun in a way. Even the taser, the cartridge in it, it has a little little primer thing inside of it that when it goes off, it'll push the nitrogen capsule into a needle, and then that will project the cartridges out. These 40 millimeter launchers, it's just a big, think of an oversized shotgun shell essentially, and it has a primer in the back of it, so it fires. It has the primer goes off, and a little small charge of powder launches this round out. Same with the 12 gauge, the bean bags. It's got a primer in the back of it, small charge, and it fires and delivers the payload. So it sounds like gunfire, and I think this probably occurs more than what people think. Sympathetic fire. When gunfire pops off, then everyone starts shooting, and you can see this in some videos where once one person starts shooting, more start shooting. And this honestly kind of looks like that. It looks like, she possibly initiated with 40 millimeter, and then you hear the beanbag, and then he starts shooting. So it happens. I think that when you hit the replay on this,
Hey, stop right
so you'll see her. She fires.
there! Don't do it! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Hey!
Right, so watch him. Watch him and listen to the low popping noise of the less lethals.
Stop right there! Don't do it!
So he reacts.
Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Shots fired! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it! Hey, stop right there! Don't do it!
So he starts to react to it. Now, it's anyone's guess if they would have been 100% effective. There have been people who fight through the impact munitions and then continue charging forward. So they could have, if this guy hadn't shot, this guy very well could have continued walking while they dumped multiple less lethals into him. It's happened before. but he does appear to react to them. You see him kind of wince and sort of reel inwards, I guess, to kind of protect him from the hits. And then this guy fires live ammo. So it's hard to say if the less lethals would have been 100% effective or not. But he did fire. I don't want to say he fired too quickly. But I do think that there's a possibility that if he would have paused a little bit longer, then that would have been some good timing to see how effective the less lethals were. And then, as he got too close, use lethal force. Now, keep in mind, he is pretty darn close at this point. Very, very close. And so, it's possible that in his head, because he can see where he's at, he can see where these people are at, he knows that they're super close right here. And, as I said before, less lethals have failed in the past. And they will continue to fail in the future. They're not 100%. So this guy may have prior experience in seeing less lethals fail, and recognizes that the fact that less lethals fail, and this guy is super, super close. And if he starts off charging towards these people over here, well then, as he traverses this away, now he's going to be firing live ammo in the direction of other officers. So for him, he may have said in his head, an imaginary line is his sand in the line. If this guy gets past this point, he's going to have to use lethal force to protect the others. And I would have no problem with that whatsoever. If he had identified in his head that there is some line right here, that if this guy crosses it, it's game time, because he very well could take off in a sprint really quick and be on top of one of these officers over here with the less lethal and start slashing, stabbing, and cause serious physical injury and or death to them before he could get over there in a better position to use deadly physical force against the guy. So I don't want to say good and bad here, but there's two different thoughts on this. First thought, he could have maybe waited a little bit longer, but then again, if he did wait a little bit longer, then this guy could have very easily crossed this threshold and got over here and start slashing, stabbing, and cause serious physical injury and death before he could get over there and do anything about it. So while I was sitting here watching this is another little rant. I hate seeing this shit right here. I hate how people take the antenna and bend that damn thing over and put rubber bands around it. Like, that annoys the piss out of me. I'll just leave it at that. Nothing else really to say about this video. This guy, I guess he got what he wanted. This is an obvious suicide by police kind of incident. He wanted to die, and he wanted the police to shoot him, and he did something to make the police shoot him. This happens way too much. I hate it. I kind of really wish these people would just go down into the hood and just force thugs to shoot them versus the police. But I guess it is what it is. Mental health is a serious issue in this country, and that could be a whole other video in and of itself. And when people talk about, sending social workers and stuff, I mean, what was a social worker going to do for this guy? This guy's got knives, and what if he decided to attack the social worker with the intent of getting the police to respond there to deal with him? Then the social worker could be seriously physically injured and or dead as a result of that. So yes, I do, of course, recognize the fact that there's mental health problems in this country. There should be a slight change in how some things are done, but not like what the far left is advocating by, defunding police and sending in social workers and whatnot, because it's just not going to work. Even if they just send EMTs and firefighters, these people are still going to attack them in hopes that the police will have to come and deal with it. And if we had our if we sent social workers out who and EMTs and firefighters, and they had weapons on them, then these people would just attack them to get them to shoot them. It's kind of a lose-lose situation when you're dealing with people like this who are suicidal and they want to create an environment in an incident where they're going to force the police to have to shoot them. There's just not a whole lot of winning there. But I do think that talking too much can lead to problems. And, that can be a tough one to sell to people. Like, how do you tell people that, hey, all this de-escalation training, all this talking stuff, let's not do it as much. Like, because that's what people are they're gonna hear. That's how they're gonna take it. Like, what do you mean we shouldn't be talking to people? But I think that too much talking doesn't de-escalate. It actually escalates the situation. And force, I think, needs to be utilized swiftly in these kind of things, and very quickly, and very I don't say, when I say violently, like that puts an image in some people's head, like just going there being barbaric. But I mean, when I say be swift and violent, I mean use the force in a overwhelming manner that takes them by surprise, and it overwhelms them to the point where they don't want to fight, they want to flight and or freeze, with the intent of keeping them alive and not maliciously hurting them. So I wish there was probably a better word for it, but I think, surprise and violence of action, those are things, and they do work well when used appropriately. And I think in these kind of scenarios, those things should be embraced a little bit more when it becomes evident that the talking is not working at all. That's about it before I ramble on. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.